Hi guys. In today's class, you'll be learning about two projects, and so far we have completed 8 projects successfully. And as I told you, we have only 12 projects in this particular section of our lesson 2, out of which we are remaining with only 4 more, out of which we are going to do 2 today because 2.9 is the most and the simplest project by far. It is even simpler than lighting up an LED. That is because we are not going to use any breadboard. And let me open my screen. And I'm assuming that you guys can see my screen in a minute. Hold on. Okay, you should be able to see my screen right now. And I want you guys to make a small note of this. It's quite important. And first thing about 2.9, the project 2.9, it is quite interesting and important because you're going to learn about pulse, or you can name this project as observing a pulse. So this is the first time you will be observing how a pulse looks like. A pulse is nothing but an electric signal. Okay, sometimes you can call it as an electromagnetic signal also. So this pulse can either make your voltage potential go positive or negative or even stay at zero. So you know why we call a binary digit, right? Bit is nothing but binary digit, right? And you have only two numbers when you talk about bits. So that is 0 or 1. When you are using these bits in electronics, right? So the 0 resembles, or 0 is nothing but off, your circuit is off. 1 is nothing but your circuit is on. So considering on a number line, so when I talk about number line, that means we are going to graph. When we're talking about this number line, and let's say this is 0 and this is 1. How exactly a pulse looks like is whenever there is no voltage, whenever there is 0 volts, it is going to go like this. But immediately, whenever there is a voltage hike or voltage spike, so it becomes 1 and again it comes down and then it goes back again, comes. Whenever you are providing some kind of voltage, at least 5 volts, 3 volts, or any voltage, you will see these spikes. Sometimes these spikes can last longer and then come back. That depends on how much voltage and how long are you providing this voltage for. So this particular pulse is being used in radio transmissions, radio frequencies, or video transmissions, or any kind of transmissions that you do these days. Pulse is the fundamental unit, or pulse is the fundamental component, right? So today we are going to produce these kind of pulse by using a push button. So in the project that we are going to do now, we wouldn't need anything else other than, in 2.9 we would need only one push button and one resistor. That's it. We don't even need a breadboard. And of course, an Arduino Uno board. So I'll name it as just Uno. Uno is nothing but Arduino Uno board, right? So these are the three things that we are going to need today, and we are going to complete this project. Then we'll move to project 2.10. So let me show you how this projects look like. Okay. So the project name is called Observing Pulse. And if you see that, all I have is, hold on, sorry. all I have is an Arduino board and a pulse, right? And a push button. So nothing happens until you see what exactly is happening on a serial monitor. And I'm going to introduce you to serial monitor as well. So when you click on code, you see that there is only two lines of code. They're extremely easy. You got to create a variable called button state and assign it to read digital pin 2, because you're reading the signal from digital pin 2, and you're going to print it to a serial monitor. For the first time you're using what serial monitor is. And what are you going to print? You're going to print the value that is stored in the button state, that is your variable, and you're going to do it with a new line. That's it. So I'm going to do this project anyhow, but I just wanted to show you guys. And when I start the simulation, you see nothing happens, right? Because everything that's happening is going to go and print it to serial monitor. So you go and click on the serial monitor, you see lot of zeros coming up. But the moment you click this, and you will not be able to see, most probably you will not be able to see the graph. For you guys to see the graph, you will have to click the corner part over here. You click here, and whenever you click this, you see that there is a spike in the pulse. From 0 it is going to 1, and then it is coming back, right? So this is the pulse that you're going to make. If you're going to make small pulses, you see how it looks. And if you're going to make a huge pulse, so you have to just click it for a long time and then release it. The moment you release it, the pulse comes down. So that means you're altering the voltage that is going through this push button. So this is the project that we are going to do. For you guys to do and complete this project, all you have to do is go to your Tinkercad and rename this as observing a pulse underscore one. While I'm writing my name here, I want you guys to write your name. Okay? I want all of you guys to write your names, not just my name. Okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to take the push button. We are going to take an Arduino board. And then we're going to just take a resistor. Before we take a resistor, let us see the connections and let us do the exact same connections. What did I do here? You see this? Of course, one pin is connected to 5 volts, the other pin is connected to the ground, but along with a resistor. And the resistor, I'm using 220 ohm resistor. The same thing. To construct this, what you need to do is you need to take something from 5 volts, come down, scroll right, hold on. So the 5 volts would be for terminal 2A. And whenever I'm connecting with 5 volts, I would always choose to put in red color. The ground, I want to connect it to a resistor. First get the resistor. Change it to 220 ohms. And then connect it over here. You can directly connect it over here, or if you want to leave some space and then connect from the cable to here, that is also, I mean, that one also works. Then change the color to black and change this color it also to black. So now you're giving the power and you're actually grounding the other terminal. So that means the push button should ideally work. But whenever you're pressing this push button, where is the signal being stored? So for you to store the particular signal, you go to 1B, move the cursor, and maybe connect it to digital pin 2 if you want to connect. Any pin, any digital pin you can connect. So here I'm going to connect it to digital pin 2, and write it as, maybe I'll leave it as blue, maybe. Yeah, because it is just taking the signal, I'll just leave it as blue. Now, the code is quite simple. So when you go to the code, delete the pre-existing code, go to variables and create a new variable and name it as button state. If you give space between button and state, right? If you give space between button and state, it is not going to work. In C programming, you should not give a space bar between the variables, between the name of a variable. So do not give space, just write button state, or you can write A, B, C, anything. Okay. So now set button state to. So what is this set to? Like, for example, if I'm pressing this button state should be set to the input that is being read at digital pin. And where is this button connected to? This button is connected to digital pin 2. So that's the reason when I go to code, instead of having read digital pin 0, I'll just connect it to read digital pin 2. Now, whatever value, because when you press it from 0, it goes to 1. So this value is being stored in button state. But I want to see this button state. For me to see this button state, print to serial monitor. Don't say hello world, but here instead of saying hello world, I want to say what exactly is happening in this button state. So that is your program. It's as simple as that. So let me move this a little bit. Oh, let me move this a little bit so you guys can see this. And when I hit start the simulation, you click this, you will see nothing. That's because there is no serial monitor in front of you. For you to see the serial monitor, you see at the bottom, you have something called serial monitor. And this is a button where you click this, the serial monitor opens up. Again, you don't see any pulse because you haven't selected. I'm going to clear this. You haven't selected the graph yet. So I'm going to select the graph, right? That's when you can see the graph and the outputs. So currently the output is going to become consistently 0 because you're providing 5 volts, but there is no action happening over here. The moment you press this push button, you see there is a pulse that is going up and coming down. So this is your 2.9. Pulse is quite important. I will be giving you some documentation on pulse. I want you guys to read that. And in your assessment, I will be asking some questions about what exactly is a pulse and where are the pulses used. So you will get to know a lot of things about pulse and why are they important by completing that assessment. Okay, but for now, I want you guys to complete this project, and this is the end of 2.9.